Hey, what's up, guys? Here's a live trade that I've currently just executed here on the pound yen. We're on the hourly chart here. Again, this is a chart I've been posting from a 4-hour perspective earlier. Again, we can see price in this really nice box here. So again, we can see this, we have this little mini box here, which sort of makes up this larger box here. Price flips out, breaks out. This resistance becomes support. Support, we form resistance, right at this 184 round number here. And basically what I said last night and a previous couple days here is, listen, I'm going to look for a breakout of this area, either long or short. So I was watching this breakout earlier in the night tonight, and we just had no price action, right? So price kind of just broke out, closed above the area, and kept trickling higher. Now, for some people, that's enough to get in long. Again, I don't recommend that. I think it's much more difficult to do, and you'll end up trading more and having a lot more false breakouts. So this isn't really necessarily a false breakout. That was a perfectly understandable breakout, went right towards that big round number here at 185, which is also happened to be a little leftover gap open here. So again, we know those areas can act as support and resistance. Again, price bouncing strongly. But what I like about this is, in a sense, it's a false breakout in that price has tried to break out of this area. It did move, right? So there were, again, if we would have got, say, a bullish outside bar here, that would have been a great play long. But now we've broke down and closed back down underneath this previous resistance, right? So we had that resistance, price breaks out, a little bit of support, more support here on this 1 hour bearish outside bar. Now we closed under, so we're looking for this area to now hold back as resistance again and move us back in towards this box here. So again, I have my take profit right at that midpoint of this box here. We know midpoints of any box, any area of consolidation is going to be a price pivot zone. So it's a point of equilibrium. This is an agreement point. So this is a great area to take profit. Again, some of you might look to target the bottom of the box. This is a healthy amount of profit if we do get here. And again, you might just decide to go to break even and see if you catch a nice runner. Maybe take some off the table. So that's my tentative take profit. Sometimes, guys, I will move it down, and of course, I always update when I do here. So again, really simple. We're looking for this area to hold. So my initial stop loss is above the bearish outside bar. Looking for price to pull back if it does into that area and get it somewhere above this area. We really don't want to get it too far above. For me, it's sort of this area right here. This last little consolidation box. Up here. And another thing, again, I just posted, if you're following me on the forums, that we had this 1 hour bearish outside bar. And again, notice how it closed above this zone. That's a tricky thing. You don't want to just go ahead and sell here. Now, again, the underside of this box ended up holding, right? So this support and resistance zone, which again, this is just all, price is made of here, held, and we shot down. But this is a tricky point here. So what I said on the forums is you really only want to sell a break if you're going to sell a break of this 1 hour bearish outside bar. Because at least if you sell a break, okay, this should sustain under this previous resistance area, should hold as resistance again. So I prefer to look for price to close. How we say closed maybe down here on this 1 hour bearish outside bar, right here, I would have considered selling a break. But since we closed so high up here, that worried me. We could have just been holding as support here and price trickle higher as price bounces off of, say, that last resistance point right here, right? So now that we closed under this area, this is confirmed to me that this should hold as resistance. Now, of course, we don't know anything for a fact, but we know that we have that area to our back now, which provides us with a low risk opportunity which is really roughly, say a quarter of the bar to get, say, a full bar potential profit in terms of risk reward. So that's a very healthy relationship to have going into a trade here. So again, we'll see what happens. Again, you can look at this as a 4 hour bearish outside bar too. Some feeds, that's going to be a 4 hour bearish outside bar. It's all the same thing at this point, but just wanted to point that out as well. So again, I'm going to update this anytime I move my stop. Alright guys, so I've gone ahead and moved my stop. Again, this is pretty much, you can do this right away. As you guys know, I put my initial stop loss above the bar. It gives me my position size, right? So I'm going to base my 3% risk on this. This area allows me to reduce my risk. That's that dynamic risk reward I talk about. That's how I deal with risk management. Again, people do it in different ways. Some of you are going to start with your stop real close, put on a bigger position size, and look for bigger bigger wins, but equally in turn you're going to have some larger losses too, and that's just a matter of preference. This, in my opinion, is a good way to sort of balance both sides of that. So I've gone ahead and already reduced my risk to above the previous hourly bar's high. Again, there's no way that price should have to come back up now at this point, turn all the way back up here and then come down. That would be just too scary. Again, we want to look for price to reverse around this area, and again, it might already have hit that area, right? We hit the 184 and we can see price turning down, so that could even be the reversal point, because remember, these are zones that we have price within. So again, this already reduces my risk by over half. So again, that initial stop loss and now my current stop loss, that's over half my risk off the table, and I'm still maintaining that integrity for this trade. The next idea would be to get my stop loss down even more. If this starts to drop, say, into here, right into this little pivot over here, you see these bar highs, bar low, then I'll look to get my stop right above the 184, which virtually is a risk-free trade, right? And then still maintains that integrity for this larger win here, which would be, I believe, roughly 2.5%. So again, let's see what happens. Hey guys, I just wanted to give a little update here. I haven't moved my stop or anything, but I just wanted to say you could see now the 4-hour chart closing as a bearish outside bar. Again, it's essentially what my chart was anyway, just on a different broker feed. Because if we look at where I entered, this would be our 4-hour bearish outside bar, right? It's just a combination of this bar. So that next bar closes, right, and it just puts you about right where my entry is anyway. So if you waited for the 4-hour close on the 5 p.m. broker, you'd really be in the same spot. Alright guys, just a final update on this one. We never got that reaction around here, which is a little bit surprising. It's such a strong area. Even though we pulled, we had some move down here. That's not really substantial. We hit this first trouble area, but I expected even on a second pullback here, stronger reaction, some sort of stronger bounce that we could even get our stop loss down a bit lower here. Again, you can see us bouncing off this area, but again, it's just not worth it at this point. I got stopped out here, so I ended up with a 1.3% loss, which, listen, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, and that's what we spoke about in the webinar today. Is you want to be reducing your losses. It's going to be a lot easier to make up a half bar loss than it is leaving your stop loss up here and just hoping at some point it turns back down. So again, this may hold, this may turn back around, but since it did not respect this area here, you just don't want to push it anymore. And we'll just be on to the next one.